No, I didn't hear it neither. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Okay. There, now. Let me see. Can everyone hear? No. Can anyone hear? Test speaker, microphone, headphones, hello? No. Maybe this. Yes, microphone, yeah, all good. Yeah. All right, there we go.
Here we are. All right. Welcome.
Welcome.
Couple of minutes late there. We were just
sorry, everyone. Yeah, we're slowly getting in. 17 people.
Happy Wednesday night.
Let me just take the waiting room out. Take the waiting room out. Everyone's in. We are 17 in the house. There might be a couple people there. Oh, faces that I haven't seen in a week or so.
It's been a while.
Dom joining from home. Alex Giusallo. The SMWS
second place.
Award.
Taste
Congratulations,
yeah.
mate.
Well
You're making us proud as a member of our Whisky group.
Yeah. That means the trophy sits
and second to someone that works in the industry, right? So it's a big merit.
Yeah. Boot camp has paid off.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. We just didn't drink enough Dalwhinnie. That was the problem.
So
that was the one you didn't get out.
That
was the one I didn't get.
Pretty much. There's not really need.
Yeah. Dalwhinnie. It was Dalwhinnie and Dragonmore.
But saying that, people like Seamus should play with handicap.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. You cannot go and play. You cannot go in the same tournament with Tiger Woods to play golf. It's not fair.
The past two winners have now been the owners of a whiskey bar and a guy who's as in Brook, and the guy who works in the industry in Seamus.
So it's kind of not. It's like putting the Ferraris with the Fiats, like in the same category. It's not. They should make.
No offense, Alex.
No offense, Alex.
That's fine, man. I'm more of a Fiat than Ferrari, I reckon.
And it's good to see Rob there joining with his 3B background. Matty Fowler again joining. Carl, how are you, mate? David Bodo, Gans and Shan there. Justin is nowhere to be seen. Morsey there, probably working. Mike Leyland, Hung. Who is Hung? How are you, mate? Jason too, and Red. Yeah.
Good crew tonight.
Morsey. He's got a beanie. Is he calling your house, Morsey?
No, I'm bringing the tradition back, mate. I saw you in your hat today, and I'm wearing my little tasting hats again.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. Getting into those months.
Yeah, I'm covering my bald patch, mate. I'm not sure what's the reason that you have yours. But it is valid still. It's like it's good that you have me as a role model.
That's right, and I love your honesty about yours. Yeah, that's nice.
I have the long hair. It's like it looks so bad that I just wear it. So yeah. Great, what a night.
Come over to the shiny side, Jose. Come over to the shiny side.
Yeah, Dom's
You go to the shiny side, Jose.
I'm going to the shiny side.
The problem is
there you go, Dave as well.
When you do it and then you leave it for like another year and you grow out little mullets and stuff. Yeah. You've got it down.
I got a little mullets. Actually, all bald and mullet and a little mohawk at the back. That would be
I reckon that's
not very
go.
The whiskey. I don't think the whiskey people would approve that. Oh wow, who cares?
No, maybe you could start playing footy or something though.
Yeah. All right, Springbank tonight. One of our classic tastings of. I reckon this one is the one that we all wait every year, as I do. Yeah. Because I think everyone here enjoys Springbank as much as I do. So it's a pretty valid tasting. And if you don't enjoy Springbank yet, you will. we've been having these koi labels for quite a while, and we're looking for an opportunity to open them. And I'm going to lift the volume here. So we got Paul and Davis on the shop today doing the tasting from here.
Yeah.
And James will join in a minute. And well, the whole thing was to open these coys, right? To justify these coys, like how we need to be. These are the Springbanks that we got to open, but these ones were like
Pretty special.
Pretty special. This when we get to them, the order of the tasting today, of course, is going to be 10, 15, 12 cask strength, bourbon, koi, and sherry with Madeira finish. So yeah, let's rock and roll.
Let's get into it. Without further ado, get a little bit of the 10-year-old going. And
let's get a little bit. Arguably today, what Springbank is a religion.
Yep.
It's a cult. It's a bit like it's a bit like the Hillsong. Yeah.
Basically, absolutely.
It's back,
No assaults involved though, Jose. No assaults.
No what?
No assaults. You said it was like Hillsong.
No
assaults.
No assaults. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
No harassment.
No harassment.
Are we sure no one's assaulted anybody over a bottle of Springbank yet?
I'm sure outside the religion it has, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Paul Leyland just joined. How are you, Paul?
Yeah, good. The link didn't work for me, so I had to get Dad to resend it to me.
Well, it worked for everyone else.
Yeah, it's kept
Yeah.
saying.
Paul, it was the same for me. They had two different links in the same invite.
Yeah.
Oh, were they?
Yep.
Sometimes we like to keep everyone on their toes. So
Yeah.
good on you, Ed and Paul, for figuring that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good that Mike is an IT and he could help his son. Yeah.
Exactly.
I wouldn't think Paul works on IT at all, or even close to IT or anything like that. All right, 10-year-old, probably I would say the most inconsistent but most large 10-year-old there is probably nowadays today. Because I think what we love is the inconsistency of the 10-year-old, which is always great, but as his batch blended, it's just slightly different all the time.
Yeah.
They
always aim for that. I think it's like 60% bourbon, 40% sherry.
Yes. So if anyone here is Jackie Chan is there too. If anyone here doesn't know much about Springbank, it's the first Springbank tasting, or the first time they taste this amount of Springbank. So everything, please put it on there because we're happy to
do a bit more of a deeper dive into
deeper diving. If not, I
basics
assume
and stuff.
yeah, I can assume a lot of things, but of course, Campbelltown is a region in Scotland. They're probably the smallest region with the fewest distilleries of all historically, and originally one of the regions that had the most distilleries. And today there's only technically 3 distilleries producing whiskey. Which is Springbank, Glengyle, and Glen Scotia. So Andrew, first Springbank tasting for you. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Welcome
to the
Springbank side.
Correct. Welcome to the Springbank side, mate. It's incredible the amount of demand that we have for Springbank now, and we pretty much keep all our bottles for pouring on the bar. I've been keeping a lot of bottles for years to open here, have a really decent collection of Springbank. One of the things that attract most of Springbank is how quirky and intricate it is, right? Even the 10-year-old, as simple as it is, he has this.
Yeah, it's like a whiskey lover's dream, right?
Yeah. Mostly, the society had hundreds of casks of Springbank. Literally, what happened?
Yeah, dries up, mate. There's an interesting history of cask procurement where a lot of society casks, in the early days were all just bought directly. And then when distilleries decide to cut it off, particularly cult status ones often go, well, we're not going to sell you any direct. There's usually like a trickle effect of a couple of private casks. So the last 2 Springbanks we'd put out were like private casks being offered to us by individuals. And then, that's what we get after that. Not worth Springbank's money to sell it to us, probably. And probably not the economical for us, because we'd have to make it way too expensive for members. Prices sometimes secondary, they want almost just as if they're selling it by the bottle price. It's just still in wood, but they want, hundreds of bucks a litre.
Yeah, we're talking about maybe like close to thousands of bucks a litre now. It's pretty ridiculous, the prices today. And it's only going one way.
It's almost as expensive
I don't know.
as petrol.
Yeah, the SNWS used to have literally hundreds. What's the number up to now? The Springbank, it's over 120 something around. Dot.
Yeah, I think it's 100 and I want to say 110-ish.
Yeah, okay.
I think
And Longroad will be
111.
around that too. It's pretty crazy. It's a shame. It's a shame that it's one of what has disappeared from everyone. It's one of those things that these distilleries that these bottlers that never did Springbank, like Gordon and MacPhail, for example. They're very few Springbank Gordon and MacPhail. Most of the Springbanks come from smaller IBs that buy private casks, or I wouldn't know where Douglas Lang and Hunter Lang, they get quite a bit of Springbank compared to any other bottlers. And Signatory used to get quite a bit of Springbank until probably the late 80s. Pretty much they all changed after they restarted distilling again. All those maybe early 90s when they stopped selling casks.
Right.
Yeah. You don't get to see any pretty much independent bottlers. There's traditional Scottish bottlers to releasing Springbanks. Like the guys that will have a lot of stuff. Like as I said, Hart Brothers, Langs, MacPhail, Signatory, those kind of, that there's many of them that have been legendary for many years. All right, what do you think of this 10-year-old, John?
I love the 10-year-old. Like, I mean, it's hard not to, particularly like looking at other 10-year-olds that maybe don't quite sing as much of a song. There's a core range. It's like sensational, and you've got some typical Springer notes going through it. For me, on the start, it's like I get a lot of that interesting sort of like maritime, breezy, salty note with like some honey. Then the palate's kind of like spicy nutmeg and cinnamon, and it's just got a really long sort of chewy finish.
So everyone knows all the first 3 releases that we have, they are 2020. So I've been carrying these bottles for 2 years. It's that complicated now to have them.
Yeah.
They're all 2020, bottled in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Which you can tell pretty easily if you've got the bottles at home. They've got a code on there printed on it, which says 2020, 2021, etc. For the 12-year-old, the 10-year-old, it doesn't really mean too much. Like it always changes, as Jose's kind of saying. They don't get the consistency through there, but as they move to the other ones, the ABVs are changing on the cask strength.
Correct.
And a bit more as well when you get to the 15. So the iterations change a fair bit through the different years of the 10, but they do stay, on a somewhat similar ground, always aiming for that 60 to 40% sherry to bourbon ratio, cask wise.
As I always say, don't finish there's a few people that might be first time that do a tasting with us, so don't finish all your samples. We get to taste them across and everything, and then we go back to them. So this is I would put this together with it's been it's been a couple of years I don't taste proper but Nevis 10-year-old, but it used to be one of those consistent. Springbank 10, the Nevis 10, very reliable. Lagavulin 16, another one, official bottling. That you get a high quality for what you're getting.
100% for not necessarily an arm and a leg, but
But Benny 12 too.
Yeah.
Alex Uzalo might probably not know.
It was one of the ones I picked, mate. So there you go.
You picked that one?
Yeah.
Or you missed that one?
The double wood. No, I got that. Got the double wood.
Which one you missed?
Darwini. I put down Darwini. It was a Krakenmore 12.
Getting a Darwini in a lineup is like a punch under the belt.
Yeah.
It's under the belt. Putting a Darwini. Who drinks Darwini? I don't know.
It wasn't on there. That was the thing. It was the red herring.
What was there? You put it at Winnie 12, and what was it?
Craigenmore.
You put it at Winnie 12. Oh my god. Yes. Alex. No.
Yeah.
Well done, man. That's
Still got second place.
second
so
place. That's like, yeah.
pretty well.
Very lovely bottle of Balvenie as a prize, so I'll enjoy that at some point.
The gutting thing, Alex, you're like the Joachim Phoenix's Joker year. Like any other year, that's first place.
Yeah.
That'd be the highest scoring of all the other previous years. It's just the pipped at the perfect score.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, Brooke, when she won, she got perfect score too.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think she
8 out of 8. Yep, perfect.
I thought she got a couple wrong. She's got the most.
Yeah. The next time we should send Alex with a jumper or a jacket or something like Casa de Vinos. We sponsor him.
With tasting pub, yeah.
We give him $100 tab on at the Baxter's Inn after party or something like that, and we send him with a little vest, puffer vest or something like that, like the college and a beanie. It's representing.
Might be a little bit, need to be a bit more than 100, but we can always discuss. I hope my agents call your agent.
Okay. Thank you for being so humble and so.
After the second prize, I think it's going to be a little bit more than 100.
If you want more than 100,
I'm going to come last next year. Don't worry. I'll get a 0 out of 8 next time.
Come on, we give you 100 for a second. It's okay. Okay. All right. Let's pull the second one. Let's get
Get it going.
Yeah.
2020 12-year-old cast strength.
2020 15-year-old Jono. You got all the details on this combination of cask, sherry, bourbon.
Yeah. This is, I reckon this is 100% bourbon, as is what they normally do with their 12-year-old cask strength. But I've been looking at different years. But I think they
No, this one they put always something sherry. Whiskey base will have the.
Isn't that the 15? Isn't that the 15 you just poured?
Yes, 15.
Oh,
15.
Sorry.
Yeah. 15. What were you thinking of?
I thought you were jumping to the 12-year-old and then going 15.
No.
But yeah.
15
So
year
I was
old.
talking about the 15-year-old. Yeah,
It's normally 60
15
sherry, 40. Or what is this?
it's 100 sherry.
100 sherry, okay.
For the 2021. I'll have to look for the 2020, but I'm pretty sure it'll be the same. So from what I can gather, the 10-year-old is always about 40-60 bourbon sherry, and then the 12-year-old always bourbon, the 15 always sherry.
Yep. The so for who doesn't know, Springbank doesn't have a Solera, which means they put together a different blend all the time. So the percentages kind of vary, and that varies a lot, the flavor of each release. And in the older ages, varies a lot the color. So makes some of the really dark ones. And that's one of the things that if the Germans weren't such a wealthy country, the Germans love sherry, are the ones that pushes all the Springbank dark sherries up in price.
Right.
It's pretty crazy. They even buy the sulfurous ones, like really for a lot of money. I would say Australians are the same thing, very similar to Germans on drinking styles. They like very heavily sulfurish whiskeys, which I'm okay with some of them. Yeah. But it's pretty interesting. The color on the Springbanks, they normally comes with quite a bit of sulfur, especially on long roast, which is the peated style. The price is a lot more expensive, which leaves us, the ones that we like fruity and bourbon, in a good position to snap them for a really decent price.
Just to clarify for everyone, we're on to the 15-year-old now.
We're on the 15-year-old, eh?
Yep. So we're going to go the 10, the 15, then over to the 12 cast strength. But
very evident the sherry on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask Dom, which is another Springbank maniac.
Yep.
Dom, what do you reckon?
It takes me back to the last one we did of these, Jose, and remember that the 15 was actually, everyone thought the 10, myself included, last time was much better than the 15. Whereas this time, I'm really enjoying this 15. I don't think the sherry influence just doesn't seem to feel as great this time as it did last. Not that I didn't enjoy the 10. I think the 10's lovely as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess I love what they do. So it's very difficult for me to be overly critical, because I love what they do at Springbank.
To be partial.
It's hard to be partial now.
It's a lot more evident. According to this, the cask type of the 15-year-old is 40% sherry, 60% bourbon.
Right. Okay.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's always a mix, these ones. And which it doesn't have is a lot of the peated component that the 10-year-old has. For the very weird system of distillation that they have, that they use that 2.5 times distilled. Wow. It's 200 euros. So that landed here today, according to Whisky Base. That's around 500
bucks. Yeah. And it's the 20. That's 20. The 2020. Yeah. Then the 2021, the newest release is just 100% sherry. So it's
yes,
interesting.
correct.
Sort of that
that's it. When we don't have any of those.
Not yet. No.
Yeah, hopefully we get. No, I don't think we will. Anyway, maybe Dom wants to give us one. We miss on another occasion, I reckon. I need to go. I need to sneak in at night and.
Can we check if the waiting room's open there, Jose? I think there might be a couple of people.
I have the waiting room closed.
Waiting room's closed. Maybe someone's got the old link there.
Someone's messaged me.
I'll pop the correct linkage in the chat, and if anyone's friends aren't in the tasting, then they can follow that link. So I think there might be a stray link floating around.
I sent a couple of emails to people. There's a stray link when someone's sabotages.
Someone's got a dodgy link.
Yeah, Baron. Okay. I messaged a couple of people anyway. Sorry, Chris, when you message me, I don't have enough time to read I missed the chats.
That's all right, you're forgiven this time.
Yeah. Let's go to the bourbon cask. It's the 10-year-old.
10-year-old.
It's more that vanilla.
Yeah, more pretty caramel. A little bit of like fruit as well coming through.
Really malty.
But yeah. More smoked meats and seasoning on the 15.
I'm getting a little bit of bovril on the 15 or soy sauce.
Yeah. Umami.
Yeah. Heaps soy sauce. What's called a non-glutinous soy sauce? There's a non-glutinous soy sauce.
Yes,
It smells
sorry.
different. It's not like so harsh. But we're 36 people now. Tamari, Rob knows. All right. I reckon we move on to the 12 cask strength now.
I think so. And it's going to be the last couple
Remember,
that we really spend a bit of time on.
Continue leaving these ones. Another of the purpose of for the people that doesn't do a lot of tasting with us, another of the purpose is we don't drink them all and we leave as much as you have. Because when we get to the really nice ones, the rare ones, you got the rest one, the other ones to drink, and you can nose the rare ones. So you don't drink all the rare ones. So you get more time to enjoy and nose. And
then you can take the rare one with you to bed and you can strap it on in there.
Rob is spot on. He says the 15 has brought out the malt and the vanilla on the 10-year-old. All right. Springbank 12, cask strength 55.3. There we go, John.
Beautiful, thank you, mate.
Let's see.
So I'm going to assume that this is 100% bourbon, but then maybe they changed that as well.
I will tell you in a minute.
35 sherry, 65 bourbon, this one, guys.
This one? Right, cool. So it's interesting they've changed it up this year to go 100%. That'd be interesting to see. Or not this year, the previous year, but 2021.
A lot more enhanced. Wow.
Oof. Everyone's just gone a little bit quiet taking this one in.
Yeah.
But how can you not be a fan of that cast strength, particularly like on the nose? You're dealing with a lot more oomph, but then the palate is where that really starts to sing through, doesn't it? That just carries a lot of extra weight on the palate.
Wow. This one, according to Whisky Base, is with 260 and 300 euros. So we're talking about like $600 there.
For a 12-year-old cast strength, you know, the distillery officially bottling, that's just unparalleled, really.
Unless it's Chichibu, then it's like 6-year-old and it's double the price.
That's different, you know. So yeah,
but it's another cult. Chichibu and Springbank are two cults.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. And much better than giving money to Hillsong. You give money to the distillery. You buy
and you get something back.
You get something back that you can drink. You get nothing back on one of those cults.
And you can be part of multiple different cults, whereas sometimes with those ones, probably only can take one. You know?
You might end up on a farm in the middle of Texas one day. Wake up there, like, you know, on a white shirt.
Yeah, you can do that with whiskey as well, though.
No, yeah. All right, so it's very interesting the consistency between the 10 and the 12. They're like the same. They're the same backbone.
Yeah.
I'm liking a lot more the 10, though, I must say, in this case. And the 15. Daniel Mathers just joined. How are you, Daniel? Another Springbank holic.
I am indeed. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Loving them. I am a Springbankaholic.
Standing up. My name is Daniel. Yeah. I'm a Springbankaholic.
I'm at least I'm in the right place tonight. So the cast strength 12 is fantastic. That's the one I've just started. I've just gone back to the 10, and I think this 10-year-old is actually stunning. Just wow. I love it.
Matthew Fowler, back to attend this stone fruit stinging. Yes, Matthew Fowler. He brought me in a sample of a 21-year-old parchment label once. I still have some in my house. I still haven't finished that sample. I cherish it. Like one of the best things I have. It's like amazing, that parchment label back when it was closely affordable. Yeah. You buy that outright or you swap it with something?
I bought it from Nick's back in the day before everything exploded.
Wow. Lucky. Yeah. I mean, I'm a few parchments and they are like, pretty off the hook right now. Yeah. Anyway, one day we open one.
Absolutely.
But as long as we got people like Zanzibar and Whiskey Agency and the Nectar that keep on sending us these very nice and juicy Springbanks, we don't need to buy these crazy old bottles.
That's right.
Which are great, but still like it's a different era. But we at the moment we're doing all right, I reckon. What do you reckon? The tennis. The tennis pure fruit. The amount of lifted fruit on the tennis. The tennis underappreciated. I agree because it delivers so much. This is something I could drink a lot of.
Just constantly. Yeah, the 10's really coming out to play now. The 15 is. As soon as it went out, I loved it because I think there was a lot of contrast there, but I'm not sure if the cast strength 12-year-old's doing the 15 too many favors.
No.
A little bit of like orris root and star anise on the 15 now.
Yeah, I get that sort of star anise or what's called what you made the curry with. The spice that is all mixed up. Garam masala.
Yeah.
He had a sort of like clove mixed with cinnamon and star anise, all like. I think Dom and Daniel are agreeing about the 10 highlighting a lot. The 12 highlighting a lot, the 10. 12-year-old is probably the most rare one to get the 12 cask strength, but I reckon the 10-year-old is probably the most consistent one. Obviously, tastings like us doesn't really help about the situation of Springbank because it's like a snowball, you know. But anyway, it's one of something that we cherish a lot. And one of those distilleries that everything they do is so old school that it keeps the tradition. There's no, you know, they employ a lot of people in this. It's probably one of the distilleries that employs the most with the smallest output of all of them.
Yeah.
Be careful with that elbow. I know that one. The Alex, what was the last Springbank? You guys released a Springbank last year, did you? 24, 26?
Yeah. Is this a
Or the year
question for me?
before? Yeah.
Yeah. We did one in, it would have been, because COVID sort of wipes the time. I think it probably would have been about 2018. We did one in Australia, last one in Australia, which was 112, and then 113 we never got. That was US only, but that would have been 2020. And that was our last one worldwide.
In 2018?
Yeah.
But they arrived here not in 2020 or something like that. Or arrived.
No, I think
I'm trying to remember how it was.
I think the last one we got would have been 27.112, which was kicking around back in 2018.
Okay.
But you're right, the last one we did was about 2020 globally. So you might have seen dates and stuff on that, or that was the last one we've done.
All right. Let's see what is Matt says. Giving some shapes on the nose. Yeah, barbecue shapes.
I think that was Rob there, the barbecue shapes.
Barbecue shapes and barbecue pizza shapes.
With a hint of pizza shapes and just a little bit of chicken crimpy on the side.
Yeah. And this is very interesting. The because Springbank, I would like to know what is the composition of the 10-year-old of this 10-year-old. I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
Of the 2020 release. 2020 release 10-year-old is this one here. It should be doesn't say what is the composition on that one. Maybe this one or maybe that one. That one. Let me see. It's 21 or 120. It is 21 120.
Doesn't say how.
No, 20. This is the American one.
On the
It could be 100% bourbon.
yeah, well, it could be right. On the 2021 on the website, it's 60% bourbon and 60% sherry, but
That's really all sherry.
That's nothing to go against because they've obviously changed that completely over the last couple of years.
Maybe that one or maybe this one. Let me see. It's very difficult to find information about this 10-year-old new label. Yeah, this is the first time. It was crazy when they changed the labels. I remember I met in Limburg. I met two collectors from Denmark, and they bought 120 bottles of the first batch of Springbank 10-year-old with the new label.
Far out.
Between two of them.
Can't blame them.
120 bottles.
No, that'll probably get them through a year.
Yep. They have these, because they're all batch, they all have the rotation number on the side. Their theory was that not to lose any customers, when you change the packaging, they would have made a really good batch of that rotation. Because they were like, I don't know, I would say from the first batch of 10-year-old, there were at least 6 or 7 batches. We never got 1, 2, or 3. I think Australia got batch number 4 of 10-year-old with the change the label for the 2020. So yeah.
And when was that? 2017.
Yeah. 18. This is 2104. See, the rotations of in whiskey base is 2129, 2029, 2120. We got 2104. Our rotation is different. Canada is 2087. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Might not be even on whiskey base. This rotation. Australian normally they're not there. 2151, 2159. Yeah, there's at least 6 or 7 batches of Springbank.
There you go.
Yeah, it could be the nerdiest collector, the Springbank. The nerdiest that I know, the Springbanks. You know.
Yeah,
They know the stuff, the batches. It's the only distillery you can still track that has some traceability.
And I mean, they're pretty. They label their bottles well with what it actually, like the exact year, and they've got the batch code on there and everything. So as a distillery, they're not trying to. It's not like they would hide it, but they're absolutely saying it pretty blatantly there.
Yeah.
So it's easy to be nerdy about it, I guess.
All right, time to go to the Zanzibar bottling. So the koi label. This is a Zanzibar bottling of Springbank for a company called Japan Whiskies. It's not labeled on the Zanzibar label, but the cask was a Zanzibar cask. This is a 28 years old, distilled in 1992 and bottled in 2020. This is something really special.
So starting with the 24,
28-year-old.
or we're starting.
This is 28-year-old. Yeah.
So we start with the 28.
We start with the 28, the bourbon cask, so we can stay longer on the nose. This is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Bottle of 42.8, 204 bottles, and mature in a bourbon cask. So, yeah, pretty epic.
Yeah. Piece of freshly mown grass at the start.
It's like the backbone of the 10, but on steroids. Everyone's quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet. This is worrying.
Well, I think we're
Everyone's
just
enjoying too much.
taking it in, Jose.
Yeah.
You've got to spend a bit of time with these ones.
Who kicks in? You want to kick in? You're the first one?
On this one, well, I mean, I've just been looking at what everyone's been saying, kind of echoing the same sort of thing. I'm thinking as soon as that went in my glass, I was like, it's like freshly mown grass, right? But then you don't have to spend too much time before you start to get a little bit of fruit. You start to get a little bit of saltiness. You start to get a little bit of funky sort of like interesting peat. It's a whiskey that I can't wait to spend the next half an hour with.
David Bottle says someone put some juicy fruit on the glass. Yeah.
In the grass.
Jose, this reminds me a lot of that Nectar Springbank, which may not be a Springbank and is a long row. Sort of shares like the same DNA of like the petrol, the grass, but then that one just goes completely mental towards like the oil and the super grassiness, whereas this one sort of stays much tamer and leans towards the fruits instead.
Correct. And this, no one uses, like, everyone says that they talk about the Springbank, if it's long row or not. Like, no one's really, in the recent years, no one's allowed to use long row. They will sue you for life because they use it as a brand. So, like North Star, their long row is peated Springbank under the label, the last one. You can only say that you cannot mention long row on the label, not allowed. It has for trademark. That's what the Nectar did. Saying that, it has enough peat there to be just a Springbank. So I wouldn't know if what they bought is a cask of long row that lost all the peat. And I haven't asked Mario about it. Or Karsten, because I think the cask was bought together with the whiskey agency. But on top of my head, the only person that has used, And on the top of my head, the only person that has used the word longro has been the Italian bottlers, because they just don't care. They do whatever they want.
James just cleared us out.
Yeah, the old Italian bottlers, you know, Samaroli, Moon. But at that time, no one would care, to be honest. But in the recent years, yeah, even I have not tasted. The Samaroli used to just copy straight up the Longro label, you know, which was like what Gordon, like official bottling, but it's not. Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting that. I'm not sure. Emmanuel probably can tell us better about that, because Samaroli stopped bottling all Springbanks. The last vintage of Springbank for him was 1987. After that, for some reason, they never sold him any more casks. They distilled only. Apparently, in 1987, these Springbanks only distilled a batch for. Very interesting. I read a comment on a Springbank on one of the Australian auction sites that had it like 100% wrong. Springbank operated every year even when they were closed. They would just operate very little bit to do the contracts, and that's pretty much it. For example, 1987, 86 is almost impossible to find any Springbanks. 87, there is very little. The only contract distilling they did for 87 was they did for Samaroli. And I'm getting distracted, James. Sorry.
I'm almost
yes, because you're in front of me. Sorry, man. For Samaroli. Somehow the barrels of Samaroli end up in signatory vintage. And through signatory vintage, also they got bottled by Kirsch import, because Kirsch has always been in Germany. Kirsch has always been imported of signatory vintage forever. So, but they all originally, those 87s, they all come through Samaroli apparently. What no one knows is what happened there, how they managed to, some deal there. Interestingly enough, after that, Samaroli never had any other Springbanks directly. All the Springbanks before that, they were all bottled by J.A. Mitchell, interestingly enough. And the last Springbank of Samaroli, they were bottled off-site. So something happened there. Samaroli had to take all the cask with himself. We would never know. It's one of those things that whiskey that you would never, someone might know. I never asked. I think I can't remember. Maybe I did ask Carsten once and he said he doesn't know. But no one knows about these kind of things. You just put 1 and 2 together, right? If that makes sense. Almost impossible to find 82, 83, 84, 85, Springbanks 86, but there are out there. I'm trying to think if I did have someone. I have to get back what I think. Anyway, Jonah, this 28-year-old standard.
It's awesome, right? And then the palate as well is sensational. I hadn't had a sip of it before, but the palate I was expecting maybe a little bit more of that grassiness with the peat, but it's got a quite sweet back palate to it. It sort of like lingers for a little bit there, and it's kind of a surprise. I always get like a little bit of butterscotch on the back palate, which is just epic. It's a next level jam. I reckon the nose strap might be out for this one.
Michael right there is saying that we should do a Casa de Vinos abroad. Maybe we can look at 2023. Do a.
I think we'll be well and truly out of COVID then. So let's pencil it in for next year and get the ideas going.
That'll be good. We could do Limburg, and then after Limburg, we go to the Spirit of Speyside, which is right after that. And then there we just visit a few distilleries, and then we do Springbank, and then we come back home with whatever's left of our liver in our hand, in a jar. Bring it back. You know, that could be. We are into something, I reckon. There.
Absolutely.
I'm keen. Yes, I think there will be a few that are keen. Dom.
I'll be there. We should tack on Isla at the end of Campbelltown too. It's very close.
Man,
disagreements there.
that's like a month trip, man. Limburg, Spirit, or Speyside, and Nida is like 2 weeks. I cannot be drinking like in a group for 2 weeks. Have you ever gone like 2 weeks? Is like by the end it will be like I don't think like I mean
You're not trying hard enough, Jose.
I'm not 25, no, but it's like this.
Mate, I did 13 days in Vegas. I can handle 2 weeks drinking.
What about I like that. I can handle 20 days in Vegas too. I probably come back with who knows what. Yeah. They're like, I might not come back, might end up arrested and
We'll do it in the name of science. Let's just do it. We're going to do it in the name of science just to test things out. Let's go and do it.
In the test. Yeah. All right. I reckon we move on to the 26-year-old, the sherry cask. And 24-year-old, sorry. The sherry cask 24-year-old. This is mature in a sherry cask and then finished in a Madeira cask. I have no idea for how long we're James left us 10 minutes.
I haven't tried this one yet. I'm excited.
Me neither.
You get a little bit.
No.
They're both pretty even, Jose. Pour a little bit more in.
Well, it shouldn't be even. That's the whole purpose of not being
but
even.
you're uneven them.
No, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. James, how much you have? Show me.
About 15-year-old.
Oh!
He gets more. No, it's so good. James, go enjoy. It's so good. He gets more than. It's okay. We take it off your pay on Monday.
I'm a generous soul.
You're going to enjoy it. You missed a couple of days. It's so good.
I will. I'm sort of back end of the taste. I'm pretty happy with this.
It's $100 short your pay on Monday. It's so good. You know what it is.
Good. It's a good tasting to come in from the last 3 drams.
I know. It's there. Where are you? Does this sound familiar to you? You didn't get it. Too slow.
I stopped listening.
No. The short sample brings back memories. Wow, the funk and the grease in here. Funky and greasy.
Yeah.
It's like a
disco in a barnyard.
It's like an HSP with cold chips. Yeah.
All right.
They're laughing, the boys out there. A wet ashtray. Yes, yeah. I like that one.
A wet ashtray gives way to
it smells like cold chips. Have you had cold chips? Like when you do fish and chips and the chips are cold.
Yeah, we've all had cold chips. I guess but then like a little bit
it's
of
not a good memory.
A bit of that vinegar is steeping through from the chip batter, and it's just like. Oh, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind. This is Zachy.
I'm scared of smelling the 28 now after 24.
No, it's bright. It's huge. It's still expressive.
Massive. Yeah,
it still cuts through. It still cuts through that 28 when you've done the 24.
Extreme fruit.
Extreme fruit.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
Epic.
Justin, how are you, mate? What do you reckon? How are you enjoying this?
I'm actually preferring the 24 at the moment to the 28. But it's one of those things, it's a preference thing on the night. Like you asked me tomorrow, I'd probably prefer the 28. Just seems to be a night for sherry. I think it's cold weather outside now.
I reckon.
Yep.
The palate on the 24 is outstanding.
It's exquisite.
It's huge. The 24. It's rich, it's big, it's thick, massive. Yes, very spot on. Massive.
I just had it with a bit of chocolate too. It's sensational.
Nice.
Yeah, these two could be. Justin is our man that keeps all the statistics. Justin, you write these ones down as contestants for the prize of the year that we give on Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
we get Justin there taking this one with a spreadsheet of
And
the
if it's one of the best
ballers.
ones,
We call it the ballers.
that means we open another bottle, doesn't it, Jose?
It means we might do a ballers. We might do a ballers night. We should do a ballers night. Like
Yeah.
Christmas tasting should be a ballers night or something like that. You know, like
Next level.
next level.
Like really, really.
Yeah, it's
hefty.
only like $500 a pop. You know, after we yes. But you know, like the goes so well with the porter you gave us. Good. You got a porter. Lucky you.
I think a lot of people would have got the Young Henry's motorcycle oil with
It's
this
very
one,
yeah.
which
That's
is,
it, Jono. Yeah, that's the one.
yeah, a very hoppy light porter, right? So it's not super duper thick
Yeah,
and
correct.
rich, but it's
Thick and rich.
quite hoppy and just beautiful.
Wow. And let me go to the 10-year-old and see how this works.
Okay.
It's there, kicking up. It's only a 100th of the price. It is 100th of the price.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's
it
not
has been
$30,000.
beaten down a little bit.
This will be
Jose.
like, it'll be $100,
Yeah.
and the other one is 1,700. So it's a 50th of the price. Not 20, so it's a 20th. A 20th. Yeah. A 20th of the price.
$15-year-old now is a little bit more leathery. That sort of like old like couch or quite just like subdued leather note.
Alex, what do you reckon? You're probably not drinking enough because you're not doing tasting notes. No, it's pretty quite quiet. It's probably working too hard.
Sure, he's got his schnoz in there.
Yeah.
Is that me or the
Yeah,
real
that's you, that's
nose and palate in this group that's also called Alex? No, I love it. I love it. I think like I was, excellent base, perfect core range startup, but then you hit the Koi series, you're like, damn, like now I don't really want to go back.
Yeah, we don't exactly. We don't normally do these tastings that we taste core range. We actually don't do any tastings that we taste like three core ranges.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. But with Springbank, we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
And it's good core range. It's solid core range of all the ones you could possibly do as a vertical. Like it's one of the most solid cores.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh man, yeah, no. And like the layers on each of them, like I'm jumping between, I've just got both, like one in each hand, and it's just phenomenal. I think my preference is I'm with Justin. I reckon it's just like the weather or something. I'm absolutely rating the 24, but then doing the thing that we love to do, jumping back to the 28. It's getting like it just changes all the time. It's all tropical fruit now. All the like stone fruit that wafted off is just it's made way for pineapples and mangoes and a heap of really cool tropical fruit. So it's like having them together is perfect. I don't know that if I had one in isolation, well, I guess then you're not comparing. I was going to say I don't know what my preference would be if I could have them in isolation. Tonight it's definitely sherry, but yeah, if I was gonna have the 28 again, I'd almost want a little bit of the 24 just to see what nosing both together does.
Yeah, spot on, Morsey. But and I don't think we were necessarily expecting that going back to the 24, that it was going to keep kicking and that we would get so much fruit. And so the fact that we did, I mean, epic.
Yeah, it was a bit grassy and pencil shavings on first run at it, the 28, sorry. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, but it might be a bit subdued and a little bit flat or needs a lot of time to open up. But it didn't take very long for that grassy and mintiness to waft off and the fruit to reveal. So stellar drams.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of the rancio from the Madeira on the palate at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like heaps of rancio at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
And I must say the 12-year-old cast strength on the palate as well is still exquisite. It still carries a lot of weight. The nose, of course, is still there, but the palate more so is still kicking really strong there on the 12 cast strength.
The 24 has that rancio that a fino cask has. That sort of mold, dusty, something sort of very well, I really like that.
On the 24?
Yeah. The 24-year-old, the sherry one.
The sherry, yeah.
But the Madeira, which is, for who doesn't know, Madeira is like port. But it comes from an island that's called Madeira, so it's not port.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Port is port because it comes from Porto. Madeira is like port, but comes from Madeira, so it's Madeira.
Right.
Right. So
What do they call the port on Madeira?
No, they don't call it. It's
Where
Madeira.
where the ships land.
They don't buy. They drink the local stuff.
Oh, okay.
They just call it Madeira, but it's port. It's like port.
Yeah.
They do the fortified from port is port. The fortified from Madeira is Madeira.
Right. Okay.
But they don't drink Madeira in Porto.
It's the other starboard, Jono.
Yeah. It's like yeah, kind of say it's like it's not they it's one of those things that in Europe don't happen, that they don't drink like wines from Ribera Duero and La Rioja. They don't.
No.
They just don't.
That's not what they're into.
Yeah. It's yeah, of course. They don't drink French wines in Italy. Like you don't go to there and they go, oh yeah, can I have the Burgundy? And they will look at you like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's basically Madeira, and it's actually it's like they make with different varieties than port.
Right.
They are mainly white varieties, and the different levels of sugar. But as well as port that's made, also there's white port. The closest to Madeira would be white port.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't. Yeah. You got very in depth to it. Which was very very great to get the history lesson on that side of the port.
So no, saying that's why this smells. It's not port, it's Madeira, but it's like if you can't get it, it's like white. We like white port,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is I love it.
David Ball says what the F is Burgundy in Italia. Yeah, of course. It's the same with France. You don't go there and ask for Chianti, they will kill you. They will get offended. They won't talk to you anymore. It's like you probably with the foie gras.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want everyone to spend a little bit of time having a bit of a smell of these too, and we'll go around and get some people's thoughts. But just before we do that, I'm going to put in the chat the code for tonight, which is Springer. Everyone, whenever someone talks about Springbank, said I had a really good Springer. So the code for tonight is Springer, all capital letters. And unfortunately, with most of these, we don't really have any for sale because, as Jose was saying, gets a couple of bottles a year and we keep them for the bar. So come in and try a few if you're here. But we do have some really fun tastings coming up that it's worth hooking onto. Namely, the first one is the Lafroy tasting.
For the people that doesn't do a lot of tastings, it's like we don't normally give discounts. I hate discounts, I would say, but we do give a discount code that is only valid for tonight until midday tomorrow, so you don't need to take the decision right now under the influence of alcohol. To give that 10% off, so it's quite worth it to do the tasting because you want to buy a bottle, with the code you get a 10% discount, and you can also buy the next tasting or one of the tastings that you like, and you get a 10% off.
Yep.
And saying that we're doing pretty epic tastings. I think it's almost sold out, or if not, it might be like one or two days.
The Lafroy.
We're doing next Wednesday, with Emmanuel. We are doing an epic tasting.
Oh my God.
Very excited about this one. We're tasting me neither. We're doing a Lafroy tasting with Emmanuel from the Old Alliance. We're tasting a 1980, I believe this one is 1988 bottle. Lafroy 10.
1990.
We got a 1980, so most likely distilled before 1978. Then we're doing a 1991 and 92 at these ones. 89, 90, and 91. Three Lafroy.
All epic. And then
29, 30, 31-year-old.
Just doing the 10-year-old is the sort of medium, so we've got somewhere to.
And the classic 10-year-old, which we all know and love, and to have it as a benchmark. And we got the man, the legend, Emmanuel joining again, which is a well of knowledge. Many of you might have many of you were there at the tasting that we did with Emmanuel, the Old Alliance tasting. I could say that Dom just says, I think I just speed. I could say that was probably one of the best tastings we've done in these 2 years of tastings, with the level of knowledge having someone like, and he talks really well. Is that we've done tastings, where with a lot of experts and two at the same. Sometimes sometimes it's hard to find someone that has all the qualities and is a good communicator.
There's none of this left.
No, we put it in a bottle because it was very
Oh,
little.
okay.
Is that one there?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
That one there.
I see.
Yeah. James already has his sample at home. Yeah, no, joking. Yeah, no. It's an old joke. We got.
Jose's going away for a couple of weeks as well, but still wants to do a tasting while he's away. So we've made up a little sample.
Correct.
pack.
I thought, I'm going away to see my mom back to Uruguay next week. So I would say that Wednesday I will still be jet lagged and I will probably most likely be up at 5 a.m. Maybe I just come from a bar or something like that. Who knows? We never know. We see what's happening there. Anyway, just because the jet lag in South America is absolutely the worst. Like the worst. Like it's not, it's like this very, it's not as bad as COVID, but almost like. And so we decided to do a tasting. While I was away, I take some little samples so I don't get withdrawals. And we're doing an epic tasting. We got 3 bottles that we absolutely love from the Nectar of the Daily Drums. The Longmont 22. I had a little whiff of this today. Absolutely amazing. An Auchentoshan as dark as you can get.
Yes.
21-year-old Auchentoshan. An Old Faithful, an Inchgauer, another multi. 18-year-old Jack Weavers, another multi. How do you call it?
A multi-ship.
Multi-ship. A Linwood, 25 years old, Gordon MacPhail, from the Connoisseur's Choice label, which is the famous Connoisseur's Choice label, and Ben Riach, 1981, 38-year-old single cask bottle for the old, bottle for the Nectar of the Daily Drums and Maison de Whisky. 159 bottles of it only.
Epic whiskey. Jose, you've been singing the praises of this one all week.
And I was talking today with Mosi, like what they did, what normally Ben Riach, what Brown Forman has been doing with many of these casks is they've been marrying them. So when they send it to private bottling, you instead of buying, whatever's in the cask, you buy, 400 to 500 bottles because they're gonna sell you a cask, they're gonna sell you a full one. So all that what we buy from the Glendronachs, for example, or the Ben Riach, right, is one of 500, one of 600. Those old casks don't have that amount of naturally. So they've been marrying the casks and then they take one of the numbers of the cask, matures for X amount of time, and then they bottle that, right? So this is not a married cask because it's only 159 bottles out of it.
No ring on this cask.
So I had a little nip today, and it's absolutely stunning. Almost no peat.
So this is going to be an epic tasting. Jose's going to join while he's away in Uruguay at 5 a.m. So
anything can happen.
That's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And
this tasting is worth it to just see Jose spin out being super jet lagged. Like I'm going to book it, even if you told me there were no drams. I'm tuning in. It'll be amazing.
Just coming.
And
Jose will lose all his samples, and he'll have all the Johnny Red miniatures from the plane, and he'll just be pouring them out, going, "Oh, this is the best whiskey I've ever had."
Bring a coconut. I don't even want to think. Anyway, and so then I'm taking 2 weeks off of tastings of everything. I might not shut the phone down because we got quite a bit going on in the background, which we cannot announce yet. Huge. If you thought Whiskey Abbey was big last year, this year is everything.
Yeah.
If you thought relocating and Whiskey Abbey,
that was big. You haven't seen anything.
You haven't seen anything yet.
I'm
so excited. I need to put the hands on top of the table. It's
it's gonna be pretty epic.
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty epic.
Pretty epic. This is 2 really good news today, and I can't say anything, but hopefully next week we can tell a couple of things. Yeah. All right. But on my way back, we're gonna do another tasting. We got some interesting.
The classic Casa de Vinos.
Yeah, some 1980s Dufftown. This one is late 80s, late 80s, early 90s Glenlivet. And then we got 88 Balmore.
Glasgow Garden Festival.
Yeah,
which
correct.
Was a beautiful day.
So this is a 10-year. This is a 10, isn't it? Yeah, so I can't remember.
12, I think.
No, 10-year. Yeah, 1978 Balmore. We don't know what this could be. Could be soapy, but don't say that word in our tastings. We know that. But it's this is the closest Balmore that we can taste for a decent amount of money from the 70s, right? You can buy also the decanter, the white decanter. There's this the garden show, the Scottish Garden Show had also a white decanter too. I believe that one might be 8-year-old.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the 12-year-old.
Long live the garden shows.
And we are opening 1980s. This is 80s Stradilla Gordon MacPhail, 35-year-old.
Yes. So I mean, distilled 1962 or something, right?
Well, this is bottled in the 80s because it has a screw cap.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's juiced from the 60s.
So it's bottled in the 80s and it's 35-year-old. So it'll be somewhere in the 60s.
Yeah.
Distilled 60s Stradilla, and not a very dark one. So no risk of being sulfury. So that should be really nice. Saying that the 35-year-old is a very rare bottling. Like there's heaps of 25, 30s, but the 35 is very, very rare, the Stradilla 35. And one of my favorite dead distilleries, which is Glenuggie. Very rare to see Glenuggie. It's one of those, I don't give too much tips, and all these things become expensive, and then Paul Leyland is browsing on all the auction sites, and then I can't buy anything, and it's like, maybe I don't say anything. 1965 Glenuggie Hart Brothers, should be very fruity. Yeah. So yeah, another old and rare, which should be pretty epic, I would say.
It's going to be next level. So I'll put those in the chat, and we'll get that going. And then there's going to be a lot of fun events in person and
Pinot Silvestre. Don't say a bit of Pinot Silvestre. I used to have Pinot Silvestre. I used to love it. And Dracar Noir. Remember Dracar Noir?
Showing our age, Jose.
Yeah, man. I used to love Cologne back then. This in Uruguay, there's two kinds of Cologne, right? Here it's all the same. And Uruguay has the Cologne that they sell in the pharmacy, and the one that is duty free. The duty free is the expensive one. In the pharmacy you buy the Pinot, the Dracar Noir, the 4711, 1411. No, 4711. Sorry, 4711 was my favorite. The German Johnson & Johnson one. Then you buy the designer ones in the duty free. The pharmacy don't sell that stuff; it's too expensive. Yeah, only duty free. Yeah, contraband. Go to the border and buy cologne.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. There's everyone that used to go to the border with Brazil, contraband of cologne, cigarettes, Johnny Walker.
The Johnny Walker, the good stuff.
Yeah, there was counterfeit Johnny Walker, counterfeit cologne. I remember thinking, they don't smell like 20 minutes and smell something else. You never grew up with counterfeit cologne, do you?
Don't think so. I'm just sitting here smelling. I stopped listening to you, to be honest.
I'm drinking Springbank. Wow, so good. Why buy cologne? Yeah, at that time, David, I couldn't buy whiskey. I was not too young, but still like between Johnny Walker and cologne, I don't know, pretty much the same. Probably imagine even Johnny Walker probably tastes better than the cologne.
Put a dab of Johnny Walker behind the ears.
I remember buying counterfeit Johnny Walker. Red.
Oh yeah.
Imagine how bad it would be that, right?
You can go blind.
No, you don't. It's like
He went blind through other means.
it's luck of the draw. But I never knew anyone that died, or at least I know. But we know. But you used to get a little bit sick, man. I can't remember. But for the amount we drink, I cannot say that he was getting sick because of the poisoning or what. I remember all day. It's very interesting. As a Uruguayan, the counterfeit Johnny Walker comes from Paraguay. Paraguayan Johnny Walker. Yeah, they call it. They sell it in the border with Brazil, Uruguay and Brazil. In the shops there in the middle, they come without the tax stamp, and they take away the one-way pour, the plastic pour inside. Yeah. Well, 10-year-old, I agree with Matty Fowler. It's so solid.
Yeah. Keeps kicking goals.
How much 10-year-old has everyone bought before now that we can't get any? Because I've got a few in the backlog because I just love it so much.
Shonky Paraguay. Yeah,
I've got none left.
Not enough is the answer to that, Matty.
Yeah. I've got none left, if that counts.
Well, I keep opening mine for the tastings, So I thought I was the one that has the most until I met a couple of you, and then I'm like, of 10-year-old, right? But yeah.
Jumping straight from the 24-year-old final dram back to the 10-year-old, I wouldn't recommend.
Oh yeah,
because I agree, Matty. There's nothing wrong with the 10-year-old, but they're like direct side by side, and it's just a bit chalky and flat. And I just want to go back to the 24-year-old. That's the flip side of doing a side by side with something like that.
What are some of the boys? Sean, what do you reckon about this Springbank tasting? You've done all the other Springbank tastings we've done.
24 or 28?
For me, it's got to be the 24, straight up, without a doubt. I love the Springbank. So I find for me personally, I don't know if this will be a crowd dividing opinion or if I'll have a lynch mob with torches out the front of my house by the time I finish speaking. But I find the big, delicious, lovely Springbanks incredible on the nose, but mouthfeel, they're always a bit thin and watery, and it's such a disappointment. And then I get past that, and the flavors and the taste are delicious. But I didn't find that with the masala cast, the 24. But absolutely cracking. I love the chocolate in the back of the masala cast tonight. So.
Yeah.
There's my thoughts.
What do you think, John?
I think of Sean's sharing his thoughts on why. Well, I thought it was beautiful that he was. He felt comfortable in the community to share his thoughts. And there are some aspects of it that I think that I would agree with Jose, and maybe some that I would view a little bit differently. But one thing I think we can definitely agree on, me and Sean, is that that 24-year-old will probably be my pick out of the 24 and the 28. But they're both exceptional styles, right? For you, what would you 24 as well, above and beyond?
No, I want the nose of the 24. Well, the palate of the 24, but the nose of the 28. And the nose of the 10 is like there, up there,
Well, if you bring the pitchfork, Jono, I'll light it up for you, mate, when you start.
What do you think?
No.
Yeah. I missed that one. What are you telling
They're
me?
going to be burning effigies of Sean in Campbelltown. They're going to have.
Tell you later.
They will shut him out. Yeah. They will, yeah.
They'll be burning sort of effigies of Sean. They're going to be like scarecrows with Sean's face on them. They're going to set fire to them. I can see it now.
They'll
have to get through the rest of us first.
They will execute him on a public, they will stone him to death or something like that. They probably still do that in Campbelltown. It's probably so old now. You know.
Experience.
Who knows? Let's ask someone that has not, they don't join so often. Michael Bright. How are you, Michael? Long time no see, mate.
Yeah, good. As always, long time Springbank fan. For me, the 24, I don't know if it was said earlier or not, but the sherry is a little bit too heavy for me. It reminds me of the Hazelburn Oloroso cask. So for me, I'm more of a fan. So the 10 and the 28 for me were the night. The 12 really special, but for what it goes for these days, I'm happy to stick with the 10.
I know. Yeah, I can agree with that. You know, it's we're pretty lucky that we buy these ones at wholesale price, or at least we did last time. I don't know for how long that it's going to happen, but that's how we can share them because yeah. I'm also a bourbon fan, not a massive sherry Springbank fan,
Right.
but you know, I drink it. Like we're picking hairs here on something that is like pretty amazing. Anyway, what about Alex Uzalo, or
The tasting master.
the tasting, the
Tasting.
CDV champ?
Yeah, the lucky one. They're excellent. The core range is always really good. Probably the bourbon of the last two. Probably the bourbon was a little bit more nuanced. But this sherry is the last one I have left, and I'm very glad it's the last one I've got left because I'll get to sit and smell it and taste it and enjoy it for a long time to come. So thanks for sharing these ones. It's always fun to try them. Otherwise, they're wildly inaccessible. So
And I'm glad to see you've got the award there, just sitting in the back.
oh, you noticed? Okay, yeah. I thought they were putting it there. That would be a little bit too much.
But it's okay. You can do that. It's like that shows that during lockdown you did the right thing. You cultivated your palate
Yeah.
up to almost a professional level.
Yeah, well, it seems that way. Yeah, you got a job with.
Don't taste is not a coincidence. Well, there might be some sort of, you know, I don't know what went through your mind, but you should be surprised like how much instinct forms part.
Yeah, it was a process, but I don't know. I guess it was just a process of elimination, and then just trying to remember what you could remember of some of them and had a guess on a couple. That's how it worked. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. Let's see. Who else? Ed. We haven't heard Ed in a long time. How are you, man?
Good evening. How are we? Another great tasting as always. I thought I was going to be on the 28, and if I had a choice of 28, 24 as a bottle, I'd probably keep the 28, but the 24 is certainly coming to light, and I'll probably keep that one to last. But I still love the 10. Like, I don't know what it is. I keep going back to it. That's the one that the glass is the most empty. But also the 12 seems like an odd one out. The more I go between them all, it just sort of, I think the higher ABV is just sort of throwing me a little bit. I'd love it by itself, but in this tasting, it feels a little bit odd for me.
I agree with you. I think the 12 is the one that's getting here. It's getting totally killed, forgotten. I mean, it doesn't shine. Interestingly enough, these bottles were all open 3 weeks ago, so it should have had already enough air. You know,
The palate doesn't go away like as you wouldn't expect. The nose definitely is a bit more subdued.
I don't want to add water. Alex Moss is one of those that, you know, you will add water to a 29-year-old, even at 45.6.
It's one of
still add water.
Always.
And then
Always.
the best thing with Alex is then you go like, don't do that, don't do it, it's not good. It's one guy that pays $50 for a half and then puts water and ruins it.
A half, mate. I'm down to 5 mils, and I'll put water in.
Put more water. No, Alex, don't do that. No, too much.
It's almost academic now. I even if I ruin it, I like to know that it ruined it. You know, it's like I need to confirm it. So I'll drink most of it, and then I'll leave a tiniest bit, and I'll put some water, and I go, "Yep, no, shouldn't have done that." But now I know. You know, I know it doesn't work.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but it's no point. It's not going to make it much better. I reckon with a bit of water. Ah, so good.
It is a good point though, Jose, because usually I find it like, and to Shan's point about, like the palate, particularly viscosity of palate, not so much flavor. Usually I find putting water in older or really refined casks sort of that they've really catered for maturation doesn't really work for the palate. Usually I get it's all nose benefit.
Yeah, correct.
Like it'll crack the surface, the nose will enliven. If it was a little bit, something was hidden, water will bring it out. But yeah, you'll almost always with those ones just flatten out the palate.
Palate is just like flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else, Daniel Matus, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, very well. Yeah, I don't have anything left in my glasses because they're all sensational. But I think I agree with you, Jose. I think the nose on the 28 and the palate on the 24 was sensational. But honestly, not a bad whiskey there tonight. Fantastic tasting.
Yeah. So you guys are doing the Queensland.
Yeah, we're doing the Whisky Expo again. Yeah, mid-July again. First time in 3 years. So anyone interested in, so tickets go on sale I think next week. That's not my area, but end of next week I think tickets go on sale. Yeah.
Amazing. So what dates do you?
15th and 16th of July, and we're doing it at a bigger venue this year at Ridges. So we've already got about 25 tables.
Fantastic.
It's going to be a big event, so looking forward to it.
So if anyone wants to take a little holiday for the weekend to Queensland, you're welcome to put the link in the chat if you like for purchasing.
Oh, can I take a rain check on that because I haven't got one yet because the tickets aren't on sale yet. But if you follow at this stage, if you follow Queensland Whisky Expo on Facebook, that will have all the details, and I'll shoot up the ticket link when it goes live. Yep.
So yeah, that's gonna be at the Ridges, and you guys stay at the Ridges, so you just stroll to your bed after a couple or whatever.
And then on the Sunday, we're
a couple or 300.
Sunday, you can just enjoy this lovely Queensland weather.
Then on the Sunday, everyone's going to pitch in and we're going to go over to Paul's place and finish his wall. So that'll be really nice.
Absolutely.
We do the after party at Paul's place.
Sounds good to me.
Mate, yes.
He's strangely quiet.
I know. Everybody's sending texts around. You better
It's a Lafroig after party at Paul's.
I know. I come with the cutlery on my pockets, like we say in Spanish. I don't know if that makes sense in English, but I arrive with the cutlery on my pockets. It's a big saying in Spanish.
Ready to go.
Ready for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, cutlery, everything. Saturday night because Friday we still got an exhibit on Saturday. I fear for myself. Yeah. So yeah.
You'll be right, Jose. We'll make sure we look after you.
Maybe I just send John on, like stay at home. I send John on. You gotta get up and do the show. I'll come for drinking later.
Well, you can do the Friday night, and John will do the Saturday, and then you don't need to worry about it.
Maybe that's a good idea. I go with Paul to the Gold Coast. We don't even do the taste. We just stay there. They they are very this a club. There's a new club there. They want to know. They invited me to go over there because we sell them tequila and stuff, and they say they have cabanas. They've been asking me to go there, so maybe we can arrange a cabana there, Paul. You probably, I don't know if you know the club. It's in
Where is it?
It's one of it used to be the pool of the Hilton, maybe in the Gold Coast. Could be.
No, I know most of the ones up here.
One of the big hotels. They lent the pool to a group that started a club there, and they're just taking downstairs and it's like a pool club.
It also might not be a thing, Paul.
It's at the bottom of the next hotel that's now the Hyatt. Yeah.
I gotta check my text messages. Apparently, it's pretty good. I saw it on the website. It looks pretty chic. Anyway, we get a cabana with Paul.
That escalated quickly.
A magnum of Belvedere and a few Red Bulls. I bring a couple of Springbank samples on my pockets. in my budgie smugglers.
Oh,
All right. Carl, thongs, not just on the feet. Yes.
was epic. If anyone has any thoughts on the last two or anything throughout the night, speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to spend a little bit more time having a little go at this 24 and the 28. Absolutely love it. Still developing the 28-year-old for me.
I was just thinking, Joe, that 28 it changes every time I go back.
Yeah.
Which is why it takes it for me over the 24. The 28 is just stunning. I think the 24, it's lovely, but it's actually got too much sherry for me.
Great call.
The 28 now is starting to
go boom, boom, boom.
Yes, the 28. This is like it's a late finisher.
Yeah, and Dom's right. The 24 is exceptional, but you know there's sherry and then it's dripping around. This is the spirit singing.
I'm going politician answer. I'm going nose on the 28, palate on the 24 at the moment.
Yeah. Look, guys, for me, this is the 28. The 24 has a ceiling, which is a sherry.
Yeah.
Doesn't let it go further.
It's so true, Jose.
And the 24, the 28. Now, when you after the 28, after 24, after 24 can't give anymore. The 28 continues giving, and it's like, and this is in the long run. This is the 28. I think it's like, whew, that's like it's like SpaceX, Bitcoin.
I think for me, it's that the 24 is pretty one note, and it's a really good note, and it's just how well you rate that note, versus the 28 is more complex and has layers, and it's you appreciate everything that the 28 has going on, or do you really like that 24 note? And it's kind of hard for me to pick right now because I love the sherried whiskies, and that 24 is an absolute cracker, but the 28 has the complexity over it for sure.
Yeah, and Ben Sochan just said there. How are you, Ben? Good to see you, man. Ben Sochan just said there exactly what else me. Basically, the 28.
Yeah, good to see you too, Jose.
I'm gonna